Welcome, everybody, to Running Our Best Live. I'm your host, Victor Vizcaino, and my co host, Adele. Welcome, Adele. Hi.
Welcome, my good friend. I am so excited for today, y'all.
Absolutely.
Victor's going to tell you what we're going to talk about today, and I'm reveling in the stories. It's going to be fantastic. So tell us what we're going to do today, Victor.
Absolutely. So, we're going to do the recap of this race that Crystal and I participated. I did it as a coach, so I did it along with my client, Crystal. And here's the medal we got.
Woo!
They
That's
cut,
pretty cool. That's very cool. So
yeah,
Napa Valley, and you said it's the Napa Valley, but it's an Ironman organization. Alpha, I lost
it's
the.
Alpha Win. It's
Okay,
the organizers, and
okay,
the long course is the 70.3. So that was the longest
okay.
distance that day. That's the one we did. That's the one we signed up. Mm. And we did it as a test. So that one was going to be a test because her A race,
Right.
Chris A race, is the Ironman Coeur d'Alene on June 21st. So when we
Okay.
signed up, we initially was going to do the Olympic, but I thought, you know what? It would be good for her to see what it feels like
Hmm. Hmm.
full distance, and that way I can see where we need to do more work to get her ready
Right.
for the Ironman in Coeur d'Alene. The difference
Okay.
would be longer hills in Coeur d'Alene, but
Hmm.
not as up and down and not as technical.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. Not yeah, not as technical.
Okay. And the Coeur d'Alene race is in a lake, an area lake. Is that where y'all
Yes,
swimming?
we're
Okay.
at a lake. This was at a lake. The Coeur d'Alene is going to be on Lake Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
And then on the highway, mostly the highway, there's a little section where you do the bike around part of the lake, and
Okay.
then you go out to a highway that's pretty straight out and back.
Okay. So basically what they did, y'all, is do a test run of the distance, half Ironman distance 70.3 in a completely different area than where she's doing the Coeur d'Alene race. So that's in Idaho, and y'all in Napa Valley, California, which is almost a 2 day drive that y'all made
Yeah,
down there, right?
but it's about a 14-hour drive.
14 hour drive,
We
okay.
cut it into 2 day. We
Yeah.
stopped. Well, I think we stopped in Bend, Oregon to
Okay.
spend the night, and then drove the rest of the.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
we started to see that the conditions for Saturday was going to be rain.
Hmm.
I didn't have a jacket from here. Like, oh, at the last minute, it's like, well, I might not need it. But then Friday, I bought a jacket. I said, I'm not going to get caught in the rain
Good
without.
for you.
Yes. And,
Y'all, the reason I'm saying good for you is because I've seen the videos.
okay.
And
Well,
believe me, Victor needed a jacket. He'll tell you about that in a few minutes. So tell me, how much time did y'all have before the race? Like, get to the day where you can check in, get your packets, kind of get an idea what the course is. Did y'all get to kind of scope out the course and maybe even swim in the lake?
absolutely. So we got there Thursday, and that was the plan. I wanted
Okay.
her to practice in the open water because here in Spokane, we can't get in the lakes.
Mm,
She did it last year, but this year the weather's just too cold still
right.
to get into the lakes. So this would be the first time at a lake this year.
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, no, because we did the January in Florida.
Okay. Oh yeah, because it was warmer. Right.
Uh,
Right.
it
Right.
was
Right. Y'all could get in that lake.
it was still not the same. That one was very, very small lake,
Hmm. Yeah.
very
Yeah.
still, and this one's a
Yeah.
bigger lake. So we got there Thursday, weather beautiful, sunny. Friday, beautiful and sunny, and it. But the forecast was already like it was going to rain, and we did really well with the swim. She was very confident in the water,
Mm,
no troubles. Come Saturday, we pick up our bibs on Friday. You don't
right.
check in
Right.
your bike. Most places where you go is, especially with the Ironman, you check in your bike on Saturday,
Okay.
and then the rest on race day.
Okay.
But this one, no, we just picked up our bibs, and
Okay.
we're gonna check in our bikes on race day, which was Saturday. Mm,
Okay.
So Saturday we get there early. It starts to sprinkle a little bit. We see the water's a little bit choppy, not too much. We definitely got there early enough to go get the water. That's a recommendation I had anybody who's doing a race. If you can get in the water, if they let you go into the
Okay.
water
Okay.
before the race starts, because it help you just to calm down, get
Okay.
acclimated to the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can't, then do it the night before.
Right. Right. Right.
Mm. Another thing, tip for those who are racing in cold water, if you can't get in the lake, because I've been to lakes where they don't let you get into the lake before the race. Um, in your hotel or wherever you're staying, if you can run cold water in the tub and relax there, blow some bubbles, your face in the water, get acclimated to cold water, especially those who tend to, water tends to create a panic effect, which I have a little bit. Mm, it has that effect when, if you ever get thrown into cold water and you tend to like, and that's
Right. Right. Right.
hard to control. If you can do that beforehand, like the morning before in your hotel, I did that in one of the races. It helped me
Okay.
a lot because
Okay.
now my body knows what to expect,
Right.
knows how it's gonna feel, and that I'm gonna be okay with it.
Good. Well, so with the rain, now remember, y'all, this is a swim, a bike, and a run, and the swim is 1.2 miles. Is that correct?
That's correct. One
Okay,
point.
the bike is 56 and the run is a half marathon, which is 13.1. So basically with the rain and the conditions, the wind and the cold had set in too, correct? Very
Yes,
windy?
it was very
Okay.
windy, very choppy. We did get in the water. We thought we were fine, but when we started swimming, she did have a little bit of a panic. She said,
Mm-hmm.
"I don't want to do this," and I tried to calm her down. And a second time, she said, "Nope, I don't want to do this, Victor." So I said, "Okay, let's hold on to the kayak and we'll do some relaxation exercise, and then we'll swim to the first buoy. If
Yeah.
by then you still want to get out, we'll get out." And
Okay. That's a good tactic, a good tactic.
yes, and we got to the first buoy, and she was like, "Where's the next buoy? Let's get this done." And we did that buoy to buoy. I would go ahead
Good.
of her, wait at the buoy, see that she was okay. Next one, and there was a section where the water was rough. Actually, where it's
Right.
going to be where we exited, that the water
Okay.
was roughest, which is where we started. But we had to go through it for the second loop,
Right. Right. Right.
and there was that little bit of effect. You can see her struggle through that area. Everybody was struggling because the waves were so big.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Yeah.
sight. Um, Another thing that I love is the form glasses. So thank
Right.
you,
Right.
goggles, the form goggles. I love them because it helps me with sighting. It has a
Hmm.
compass, so you don't have to rely so much on sighting, but you still have to sight. But in waters like that, where you not always going to see the buoy every time you lift your head, at least it gives you that little bit of satisfaction that you're still going the right way because your
Right.
compass is still calibrated to the right number.
So for those of y'all out there who don't know what form glasses are, remember we talked about this very briefly last time that I had tried a friend's pair. The form glasses, and I'll let Victor describe them, you can set, it's almost like you see the digital readings that you choose to set on the front of your glasses. I mean, it's set in your glasses. So when you're looking at it, like I have my glasses on now, so what I'm going to see are the numbers across right around in here and in here, whatever I've set, be it like a stroke count or heart rate, the compass, as Victor mentioned. What else can you actually set
Uh,
with it?
there's quite a bit of things, and they're always
Okay.
updating them because there's stuff that you're going to be able to do in the pool that you can't do in open
Okay.
water.
Right.
But there's different things, and if you pay for their premium, it can even tell you your tilt of your head every time you go
Okay.
down, that you're not over tilting your head. So it has a head coach. There's just a lot of really good
Right. Right.
data that it gives you immediate feedback,
Okay.
especially for right after you swim and said, okay, my head tilt is a little too high, and it gives you a score every time on whatever you're trying to improve. It's if it's your
Okay.
stroke rate, or if it's the amount of tilt you're doing your head, and it'll give you a score. That way you can try to improve next time and see over time where are you making those improvements?
Well, I love that concept and that equipment. I think for Crystal though, she's just getting used to
Yeah,
using form glasses, correct?
yeah,
So
she
for
just
her, it's still a learning experience. For you, you're very experienced with it, so you can keep track of where you are, but also that helps kind of keep where she is,
yeah,
right? And you
especially for
were,
the compass, you have to get out there and keep using them every time you go in the open
mm-hmm.
water, because I have quite a few friends that decided that they're not going to use them in open water because they find it
Okay.
distracting. I don't
Oh, okay.
get over that. That when I first started using them, I felt that there's a distraction, but then I
Mm-hmm.
felt that it was the opposite. Now my focus is on those numbers instead of the little bit of panic or
Okay.
other
Okay.
things. It's like, oh, as long as I keep a certain stroke rate, I can stay relaxed. And it's
Okay.
also keeping a time of my swim could be just something in your head like, man, I feel like I've been here 45 minutes. It's only 20 minutes. Or when you do the
Uh,
whole thing, sometimes you're like, man, I feel like I've been in the water for a whole hour and it's been 30 minutes.
yeah.
So
It just
keeping the
yeah.
clock there sometimes it somehow keeps me relaxed.
Well, and I think that's a key. It's just like we talked about with equipment when we're running, you're using the cadence counting, which you can do in any of your races as well, but just something that keeps you grounded and relaxed where that increase in heart rate and velocity, the oxygen you're taking in you're not doing anything good for yourself. You're just panicking a little bit. Well, tell me a little bit about the result of the swim. When Crystal got out, that's a 1.2 miles in very, very difficult conditions. How did she transition to the bike? Because obviously the environment was very critical at that point in time. Wind, rain, going to get on the bike. Remember, she uses her compression stuff as well.
Yeah.
And in a normal conditions, without that kind of rain and wet, she would dry. Some of her, she explained that to us. The compressions would dry enough as she cycled and ran. So how
Oh,
did she transition?
she kept her wet clothes that she still the
Okay,
compression on with a tri suit. She
okay,
went to the restroom. She dried herself up with a towel, and
okay,
we were prepared with jackets. We both have
okay,
jackets for the bike, and
okay.
so we were prepared. But the wind started to pick up, and that was made it really difficult on the
Right,
bike.
right. And y'all had your own bikes this time because y'all drove, correct?
Drove
Okay,
each
okay,
bikes. It
yeah.
was really really good.
So
Mm,
with the you see the conditions for cycling though, to me in my the inexperience intelligence on that, I would be very, very wary and somewhat fearful a little bit of getting on a bike on a road like that. Not
yeah,
only the wind, but the hills and the wet.
she was really scared of the traffic too because they didn't
Okay.
have complete traffic and cars were
Okay.
going by a little bit fast. I
Okay.
think I'm a little more used to that than she is. Mm.
Hmm.
And also the asphalt was not good.
It
There's
was
a
it
lot
was
of
choppy.
patches. Yeah,
Mm.
it wasn't brand new asphalt. It was old. There was a lot of cracks. A lot of people had flat tires.
Right. Right.
One of the times when I first got ahead of her, I stopped with to assist another um, rider, and I actually gave him a tool from my toolkit
Yeah.
that he
Yeah.
needed for
Right.
the cylinder,
Right.
and I told him, well, because it was going to be the where the first loop is, you just go out and back in the first area, and
Hmm.
keep it and give it to me at the end of the race. And he
Right.
was very thankful at the end of the race because it was saved them. Uh,
Right.
he didn't have
Right.
that part, but yeah, my point is that that did make a difference. The quality of the asphalt, the quality of the pavement, uh,
Right.
people having flats. Thank God we didn't have a flat, but that would have added even more to the
Right.
um,
Right.
to
Well,
the
and on the bike, I know you said it was hilly. There's a certain technique to go up a hill on your bike, and I think you've been training Crystal when y'all do because you've been riding indoors on the trainers, but for long distances as well as setting. of the intensity and then the incline, correct?
That's correct.
So that's a very difficult thing to do on wet roads. Was the mileage, like the speed per mile, or miles per hour, very minimal just to get through those miles?
Yes, yeah. So that's where we'll probably make some good improvements from here to
Okay,
Tuesday is
okay,
try to get that cadence and also a little bit more power because I
okay,
think
okay.
that and that's what I was trying to explain to her. It's once you hit a certain speed, it's easier probably to go from 14 to 15 miles an hour than it is from
Mhm.
10 miles an hour to
Right,
11. You're just
right,
you don't have any momentum, and if you can
right,
get just that momentum of getting a high cadence, I think that will help a great.
right.
But she's right on track.
Good,
She wanted to
good.
take her time. She had the very aware of her heart rate, so
Okay.
wasn't going to push it. Even at times, like, "Hey, can we catch that lady over there?" He's like, "Can we catch that lady?" He's like, "Nope, I'm staying at my speed. I'm
Yeah,
not going any further." And but she knew her body. She knew exactly where she
right,
had to stay because in
right,
her mind she wanted to just get to the 56 miles and
right, right.
peak out, and she accomplished that.
That's fantastic. So at this point, you've completed the swim and the bike, the registered distances for that race. Now you have a half marathon to run, and the conditions, the weather conditions were
Yeah,
just deteriorating, correct? They were
this
getting worse.
yeah, this is a good time to show the video.
Yeah, y'all, this is what Victor and Crystal sent me, and he definitely needed a jacket.
Yes, and I don't know if it does service, but I'm shivering.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just windy. I'm trying to protect my ears because it is freezing cold. The wind is blowing really hard, and
How was the race?
the race was amazing. I'm so proud of you, Crystal. Happy birthday! Finish the swim, finish the bike, and you're gonna complete an additional 10K, which was our purpose was to test and see where we can improve it. I'm so proud of you.
Look at how windy it is. It's so windy. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is the weather that we've been in all day long. I almost got out of the water. Victor calmed me down. The water was awful and choppy. We've been out here for 8.5 hours almost, and we're gonna call it a day. And I think it's only appropriate to DNF my first 70.3. I've never in my life gone 64 miles, so I'm gonna take it. I love y'all. Bye.
Yeah, and I was
My goodness.
too. You know what? There has been a lot of races where they cut them short for different reasons.
Right.
Last Ironman in Coeur d'Alene, they cut the swim short, so technically that wasn't a full thing. I think they cut the uh, swim part to 500
Okay.
meters instead of
Okay.
1900. So that's even a bigger cut.
Right.
I mean,
Right. Right. I just have to say something to our viewers, and you have to realize what you just saw. That's the kind of weather Victor and Crystal swam in an open water lake. They cycled on that kind of highway, correct? On that highway?
yes. Did you see the quality of the pavement with
Yes,
that?
yes.
With
It
the
was not even, I mean, I'm looking out my window right now and there's new asphalt on the driveway that Larry put in here at the house little less than 2 months ago, and it's so smooth, so nice. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I would ride my bike all day on this, but I would never want to ride my bike in wind and rain on a choppy, choppy street like it looked like it was. And then to be able to try to get out and just run walk all the way through. Y'all did mostly walking during that 10K that y'all did, right?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, too
I
it's
did
too
a little
hard.
bit of running when I needed to warm up. I told Crystal, you know what? I need to. I was shivering cold
Right.
uncontrollably. And I told her, I'm going to run back and forth just to warm up for a little bit. And it
Yeah.
helped. It
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, I think you do need to share with our viewers as well, Victor, that y'all were out there over 8 hours at that point. I don't know if everybody was able to understand Crystal on in her during the recording. We've been out here 8 something hours. And the cutoff for the race itself is about an 8 hour cutoff. It was at the
Eight and a half is the
eight and a
cutoff.
half hours. Okay. And y'all were close to, and the last part of the race was a 10K left on your half marathon, correct?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we DNF'd. We still got the medal, but we DNF'd. We needed another 10K to finish the race,
Okay. Okay.
but they're gonna shut down the course anyway. The conditions they were shutting down over at the finish line as well
Okay.
because the
Okay.
conditions
Yeah.
got so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
y'all, the actual distance covered with a 1.2 mile swim, correct me if I'm wrong, a 56-mile bike, and a 10K was right at about 64 miles of the total 70.
Yes.
60, 64 or something, and then 70.3. So it's really just a 10K that would have been needed to be completed. The deal with the 10K is when you've done that much distance, you think, oh, I only have a 10K left. The the situation that they were in, y'all, that were those weather conditions and the time limit, most race directors would never have allowed that much to take place at most events, depending on the environment. Obviously, there were a lot of participants that made it through the entire course. The thing that I've been experienced with is down south when you have hurricane force winds and rain, you cannot put people on flooded streets, and that's really just the running portion of an Ironman. The lake is way too rocky, way too unsteady. The kayaks couldn't even get in when we were doing a little triathlon together. The other thing is that putting people on wet roads through a city. Now you're on an open highway here, but through a city are much more dangerous because the water impacts and it starts to flood along the curves of the streets. So I have not experienced even running in these kind of conditions except one time. And I ran a marathon in Mississippi along a highway like this. But nothing comparable to doing those three physical events in those kind of conditions. Y'all, this is somebody's gonna look at them and say they're nuts, they're crazy, whatever. But there were other people out there doing it.
Yes. Oh, here's the picture of before the day before.
Okay.
So different, so calm,
Right,
completely
right.
different than the day of,
Yeah.
and this is the day of. What a
uh,
difference!
right, right. And there you are.
Yeah.
So
Oh, plus I
tell
forgot to mention that it was her birthday. I know she mentioned
yes,
in the video
yes.
it was her 30th birthday, and that's when we did this race. And here you can see what most of the payment looked like. It was pretty.
Right. Right. Well, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to be in running shoes with that, much less on a cycle, a bike. Let me ask you this: was there a time that y'all thought to quit earlier in the race than when you did when you stopped?
I think just just the water, getting out of the water.
Okay.
She wanted to get out
Okay.
of the water. The other, I've never felt that unless she didn't tell me, but
Okay.
I never heard her say I want to quit.
Good. Good. Well, and I don't like using that word quit. I really don't. I just
Yeah.
said it so quickly. I think too, once you realize where you are time wise and you know that it's no longer going to be, your support is not going to be out there because you're picking it all up anyway. That was a great decision in my mind for y'all to DNF at that point, almost there with the safety issues alone, knowing the support wasn't going to be there if something did happen to y'all. That was what I consider a very wonderful coaching decision,
Yes.
regardless of
That
Crystal said, yeah,
as
yeah,
a coach, you also have to think of recovery. So
right, right.
she already demonstrated that she can be out there for that long. There's no
Mhm.
reason why we have to be more because the more she's out there, the more she's going to have time to recover.
Right,
And
right,
um,
right.
so that was plenty. We got what we needed,
Good,
and her confidence was better. She felt much more confident afterward after doing this because she
right,
knows where she can improve. She knows having completed the swim really boosted her confidence.
good.
You know, she just kept thanking me for not letting her give up.
I think that's remarkable that you were able to stay alongside of her for that race. And not every athlete has that opportunity to do so with a coach. And I truly applaud you. I know y'all traveled together down there and did some other things on the way back. But the beauty of that is the confidence you allowed her to develop in herself, knowing that she had someone to rely on is huge. Most people will go into these without a partner or without a coach on the day of the event.
Yeah.
And to make those decisions with her, especially in the water, in those conditions in the water, that part of the coaching of that entire experience was probably the most significant.
Yes, I saw a few people doggy paddling, and
Really?
there
Okay.
was a few people that were had to be rescued, and I'm thinking those
Okay.
were probably some of them because to doggy paddle, um, 1.2 miles is a lot. Is a lot of
It's
work.
a lot, but I think with the dog paddle, people will do that, trying to stay calm, but also to not get fearful with the head going in and out the water, right? On a regular freestyle or backstroke. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it is a lot of work. The best way to relax is to stay horizontal, and it's
Right.
counterintuitive to what people think. But if you are horizontal, flat on the water, you're going to be able to relax more, and it's easier to flow, especially with a wetsuit. You
Right.
uh,
Right.
you don't have to fight the water as much as you do if you're vertical,
Right.
standing
Right.
up.
And
Mm.
y'all, and let me just try to give y'all a visual on that because Victor was explaining this to me a little earlier. If you're horizontal, chest or back, you're in a wetsuit, you're very buoyant. But when you think of a rocket ship that goes up and down like this, right? If you're vertical like this, you're much more capable of being sucked down, not sucked down, so to speak, but to
Yeah,
streamline down. And then you get that sense of not being in control. Where if you can stay buoyant and you do get a little bit, anxious, you can calm yourself down and keep moving through the water with whatever stroke you need or whatever, technique you use. But going vertical like this, and you can see that when you're throwing kids in the water, just
yeah,
playing with your family, you toss them in and they go straight down because they're going like this, like a little rocket. So y'all remember that if you're doing some open water swimming and the conditions get a little bit difficult, remember to stay horizontal and just get yourself calm and get yourself in a rhythm again,
it's
which is
actually hard
cool.
for the body to sink horizontally,
Hmm.
especially with a wetsuit. And
Right.
coming from the perspective of doing some scuba diving, we
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
have weights so that we
Ah,
can go down. We actually
right,
have
right,
we have to get either vertical or upside down with weights to swim down, and
right,
it's hard. So people's and that should sink in with people thinking that it's hard to stay up. It's actually
right,
hard to sink yourself. The body wants to float, and
right.
it's just that our heads when we're vertical, it's if the head goes below water, of course you're in trouble because you need
Right.
to breathe.
You gotta breathe. Hey, we gotta breathe. Well, tell me about the recovery when y'all got back and got, had a chance to shower and all that. Were y'all able to get that warm feeling again? Were you able to feel like your muscles felt okay? You just kind of
Yes, it
give
was
yourself that grace.
uh I don't think neither one of us, I didn't push myself because I stayed with her. It
Mhm.
was just long for me.
Right.
And with her, she was kind of the same way. She didn't feel like she exerted herself to
Okay.
where she
Okay.
was pushing the pace. Her thing, she wanted to stay relaxed.
Right.
So when it
Right.
came to recovery, I felt like she recovered really quick.
Good.
And
Good.
was not like extremely sore. I know I've been in races where you have a hard time
Mm.
walking the next day.
Right. 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 Or going up and down the inclines to get your treats at the end of the race.
Yeah. No, there was none of that. There was none of that.
Good, good, good. So let me ask you this. I know, and you will share this with our viewers a little bit. There was a birthday celebration. Victor and Crystal did get to connect with family, and share some days creating wonderful memories that they shared with me. And Crystal has shared some on her website and her Facebook pages, which are beautiful testaments to things that she learned and experiences that she shared with all of us. If you get a chance to look it up, Victor's done the same, but the fact that they were able to do that as well created such a wonderful experience for them. And not everybody gets a chance to do that. Victor has family members, a sister who's done Ironman. He's had families who've been supportive of his endeavors over the years too. Um, Crystal now has a support staff as well, a support system, so to speak. Y'all create these experiences where you can share with those you love. They don't have to do the event. They don't have to do anything except support you in your in what you're doing and applaud you when you complete your experience, and then share some great food. And I think Victor's mom was cooking some good stuff for y'all when y'all got to visit with her. But y'all create these experiences. If it's a journey you want to go on that journey and don't say no. Because what they did this time is prepare themselves, especially get Crystal ready for her main event, which is coming in just about 2 months. But also experiencing conditions that were probably one of the one and only time she may ever have to experience those kind of conditions in a race situation. So, y'all create the memories, create the experiences, and just know that what you've done is within the realm of being a champion. And I'm so proud of you too. I really am. I'm just so excited. And it was her birthday.
Yay.
Yay!
That's so awesome.
So, Victor, I know we're going to sign off in a few minutes. You and Crystal have been doing some other things to get ready for Coeur d'Alene. So, I want to stay in touch. And then, what we want to do is give our viewers some tips as we get a little closer to that Ironman event. Some of
Yeah.
the things that you're seeing in that last several weeks of training, and when you have to kind of lower the intensity, and when you pick it up again, and then actually taper to the very end and get ready for the event. So, we'll share some of that with everybody soon.
Absolutely. And also for those who are local or that can make it to the
Right,
area, I'm having a swim clinic on May 16th. You can go to my website, eymcoaching.com, and I'll have the details there. Extremely important to
right,
get a little bit of practice before open water, especially in areas like cold water, like Coeur d'Alene.
right,
Mm,
right.
Very, very important for safety reasons to stay calm. Water panicking or panicking be, before the race or during the beginning of a race is very, very common.
Yeah.
Because conditions are different. That a lot of people are used to swimming in the pool. They're used to
Mhm.
swimming in warm waters, but when they get to the lake and the race day and they get shocked with this cold water, and they're trying to, and I think the race itself, just being in the
Mhm.
race, uh,
Right.
it's that amygdala where they panic. And I think that if you think you may be in that situation, you want to attend one of these clinics or
Right.
one in
Right.
your area. But they're very important, mm, for safety reasons and just to be more comfortable and have a better experience on race day.
Well, and I'm going to make a little side note on that too. For people who are interested in learning open water swimming and are getting ready for an event, be it in the next couple of months or maybe further down in the summer, early fall, Victor will have information for people that he can share online, maybe some videos. But if you do want some information on that and you're not in Washington State in a couple of weeks, make sure you contact him. All of the contact information is usually at the end of our podcast with our show notes. Contact Victor, contact me, whatever you need to do, because I have some people here that might be interested in some of the techniques that Victor will share with those in person at his event that he could share by posting them later or in an online or maybe in a session to meet with somebody and really look at some of their techniques as we go along. So don't forget that that coaching information is also available in other ways as well if you're not in person that particular weekend. Just look at all the notes.
Absolutely. Reach out with any questions,
Hmm.
again, either through the website or my Calendly account. But yeah, reach out and I'll try to answer your question. If I can't, if I don't have the answers, I'll look them up. But
Okay.
definitely worth having a conversation, especially if you're having doubts about the swim.
Right. And also too, if you need some info on your bikes and your runs, just make sure you put all that in there for us and we'll definitely address it, especially the swimming clinic that's coming up. My friend, I hope you ate back all the calories you spent
Yes, I definitely did.
on that race. I know you got together with family and it looked like mom's cooking was quite exorbitant, and then she wanted you to try everything. But I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you and Crystal, and I know I know next time you see her, next time y'all get together to train, you can give her that big hug from little Deli over here, and I can't wait to see y'all soon. I want to be with you in person sometime soon, but if not, I can always see you on screen. Y'all stay in touch with us. We got some good tips coming up, and kudos to the champion that you are, and the wonderful champion that Crystal is now and is also becoming. I'm so proud of both of y'all.
Thank you, Adele.
All
Thank you
right.
for
I'll
tuning
see
in.
you soon.
We'll see you soon.
Bye, y'all. Have a great week.